I'm trying to do some more study-like, quick study paintings to fill out my meditative art collection. I have, I think, 3 solo shows planned for 2024 with my meditative art collection, and I really need some that are not huge, super ornate paintings. So here I am doing an American robin, and I am starting with the red breast. Did wet on wet and filled it in with a good glaze of red. And then I start here doing the beak and the eye. And I really hate to wait on paint to dry, and I really hate to dry it. So what I do with my style is I kind of alter where I'm working on the page so that whatever was wet can be drying, and I'll work on something else that's not touching it unless, I need them to touch, so that you can use the bleeding qualities of watercolors. So here I'm starting to do layers of the feathers, and you'll notice I jump around to different feathers that are not touching each other, and that's why. It's a thing of mine. I don't know why I hate it so much, having to dry paint. But I do. And I'm using, I think, a burnt umber here and doing dry brush technique, which means when you're painting onto dry paper versus I did wet on wet for the red breast, which is when you're painting onto wet paper. Notice I put a folded sheet of paper down under my hand. You really don't want to get the oils of your skin onto watercolor paper. That's why most of us trace onto the paper. You can do your drawing on tracing paper or on something else. You don't want to handle watercolor paper a lot. You want to handle it as little as possible. So you stick a little sheet of paper under your hand, and that's not putting your oils on the paper. The oils on the paper will make the watercolor not act right in that spot. It acts like a barrier. Now I'm doing a second layer of, I think I used burnt umber for my brown. It might be Van Dyke brown. I'm using mostly Grumbacher watercolors, I have a few Reeves and other types in there, but mostly Grumbacher. I'm using an olive green for shading the red breast, and I will bring that olive green into the background. I am using an orange underglaze for the feet, and the same orange, sort of yellow, a yellow plus a red for the beak. You try to unify your colors in a painting. You don't want to just throw a crazy color into it near the end. You want to keep the same. I like to keep mine 4 or 5, maybe 6 to 8 if it's a really large painting, but this is a simpler painting, so I kept it much more limited. Okay, and so in trying to keep it simple, I did a simple background, layers of leaves that I just painted on there. I didn't draw. And this is the olive green I was talking about. I really had to work hard on this painting on not getting super obsessed with details. Because, you can paint a bird for a week. And I just did not want to do that. I wanted to keep it loose and simple. Here's the result.